I was very fortunate. I had a great experience playing at Vassar College here in the IBA. Got a chance to compete against Princeton, Penn State, all the other EIBA teams. After 4 years at Vassar, I had a great opportunity to play professionally overseas. Played in the south of Holland for a year for a great coach, actually, who had coached with the Olympic team over there in Holland. Went to graduate school at Miami University. Had a chance to set for the men's club team there, which was another great experience. And throughout the time, I've been involved with the Maccabi Games, the Jewish Olympics. Had a chance to compete in Israel in 2001, 2005, and then in the Pan American Games in Argentina in 2007. I'd always been very interested in the analytical side of coaching ever since I was a player, interested in the tactics of volleyball. But it wasn't until I started training to play overseas that I got really engrossed in the idea of committing myself to something totally. And as I went through that process, as I came back after the year of playing in Europe and I started coaching club and high school, I started realizing that having the opportunity to interact with young athletes and sort of emulate those models of hard work and perseverance and putting your all into something was a tremendous opportunity to impact their lives. And so as I went on and had an opportunity to coach high school, club, and then into college, it just seemed like a career that was made for me. I was very fortunate. My college coaching career, I've been able to work with three very talented coaches. I worked under Carolyn Condit at Miami University in Ohio, Allison Keeley at UNLV, and most recently Todd Dagenet at the University of Central Florida. And each one of them brought a vast knowledge and experience to the table, and I was able to learn tremendously from each of them, different aspects of the game, recruiting, scouting. After meeting with Coach Ward, I felt very confident that our philosophies were very much in tune. Both of us see very much eye to eye on the Ivy League institution philosophy. Academics has a huge part in the student's life, and unfortunately, in other elements of the Division I landscape, that's not always possible. And here at Princeton, certainly in the Ivy League, it is. And Coach Ward definitely has a framework that's going to be important in both programs. And so her and I saw very eye to eye on that in terms of structural framework, but also in terms of the interactions with the players. We're both very interested in making it an autonomous environment, an environment where the players are going to have an input into the way things are constructed. Yes, my first coaching experience at the collegiate level actually was coaching at the University of New Haven. I was an assistant coach with the men's program. And so right out of college, that was my first experience coaching men at the collegiate level. And then most recently, the last 6 years, I've been an assistant at the women's collegiate level. Absolutely. The way this job was constructed, I was beside myself because it's something, it really is the ideal goal of what I've always wanted to be a part of. I've always wanted to get back and been involved with coaching men's volleyball, and there's so few opportunities in the country to do that. And I wasn't sure I was ready to give up women's volleyball. And so to be able to be involved with a very successful, high-profile men's volleyball team, stay involved with a women's volleyball pro team, and be on the East Coast at an Ivy League institution was just an amazing combination of attributes. It's both an exciting challenge. I wouldn't know if I would say it's a daunting challenge, but there's certainly, Glenn created an incredible atmosphere here with men's volleyball, with women's volleyball, with the entire program. To come in as the second coach after Glenn, it's big shoes to fill, but it's very exciting. It's a challenge that I'm up for, I'm ready to take, and certainly I'll do some things different than Glenn, but there's a lot of amazing things that he created here that I'll certainly do my best to keep on. Penn State certainly has the upper hand in the IBA with the way scholarships are structured, with the way recruiting is structured. Is it possible to beat Penn State? I'd have to say it is, mainly because Princeton did it in 1998. So if it can be done, it can be done again. And the exciting thing is that people are drawn to Princeton for Princeton. There are athletes across the country that have offers from Stanford, from Penn State, from Ohio State, from UCLA, that are drawn to come to Princeton. And so recruiting, while challenging, I'm very optimistic that it is possible to bring in enough caliber to compete and certainly beat Penn State somewhere down the road. The scheduling of balancing both being an assistant on the women's side and the head coach for the men is going to be a challenge. It's something that I thought about quite a bit as I was preparing to apply for this position. It's certainly doable. I think you have to be very efficient, very organized, and very hardworking. And thankfully, the work environments I've been in prior to this, I think, have prepared me for that. Absolutely. Princeton really is my last stop on my journey. Everywhere I've been, I've learned a lot. I've seen a lot. To come to Princeton, to be able to coach men's volleyball, to coach women's volleyball, to be back on the East Coast where I'm from, to be in an Ivy League institution, it has everything that that I could think to want in a position. So I'm excited to really grow the program with Joey and hopefully create and continue a strong tradition that Glenn had started.